called by men and women, civilians, both in the military and outside, wives, as well as even international people, and it's all the same. Men and women are being raped inside the military, tortured, abused, all sorts of emotional, mental, physical, sexual. That is what's happening. But it's really about the exploitation of military members, training them to become like this.
The Pentagon today released a disturbing report on sexual abuse in the military. It says more than 2,900 sexual assaults were reported last year, up nearly 9% from the year before. Nearly 2/3 of those cases involved rape or aggravated sexual assault. And still, most victims get no justice.
Going to hurt me.
Jessica's story is not unique. 1 in 3 female soldiers will experience sexual assault while serving in the military, compared to 1 in 6 women in the civilian world.
Under the system, if you are in the military and you were raped or sexually assaulted, you have to go through the chain of command, and you have to go to the commander and report that rape. And that person gets to decide whether or not the suspect gets prosecuted. And more often than not, a prosecution never occurs. An investigation never occurs.
Now, understand.
By doing that, when you harm someone emotionally, physically, sexually, when you train your own to become this aberrant bunch of people who will harm and rape their own, people become like sheep, or they become overly aggressive, in which you then can start to destabilize global populations. She was a civilian wife, had been a former military member herself, Cynthia Ng, who, as a military woman, she was actually raped. She went on and married a military man, had 4 kids with him, and over the time of their relationship, he was raping her and beating her, as well as molesting the children, and the military knew about it. The Air Force knew about it. After numerous years of having her children molested by her husband as well as herself, finally got the courage to throw him out. He was under orders by the U.S. military, the Air Force, to not have contact. One day he went over to get contact with one of his daughters that he was molesting. And Cynthia emotionally snapped, chased him down the street in the middle of the day, and shot him 5 times. He ended up dying. And yet the Air Force refused to turn those records over to her defense attorney. She was sent to prison for his murder. The children were sent to his family, and she was left in prison. 3 years later, another attorney, I knew that I was in the same situation, that anything could happen with the U.S. military, and because of the 5 laws I mentioned, you have no way of surviving because of the power sources and the cover-ups that are going on inside.
Early light.